Good morning, everybody. I am Debbie Kleiman. We're really excited that Google invited us into their house today to spend the day here in their beautiful new space. So thanks very much to Google for that, and also for all their support and help with MITX in oh so many ways during the year. This summit is a labor of love for MITX because it's one of the many ways we serve the e-commerce community here in Massachusetts. We are the trade association that represents digital marketing, digital media, and internet business here in New England. And we're the only folks who really have a strong focus on the e-commerce community here in Boston. And I was just talking earlier today with some friends about how amazing the e-commerce cluster actually is here in this region. It's one of the biggest in the country by far in terms of the number of companies engaged in major league e-commerce. And we're really proud and honored to serve you guys, and we're proud and honored that you are part of it. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for taking part in the summit. I wanted to also thank our sponsors for this event because without their support, we couldn't do great things like this. I'm going to hand things over to our keynote this morning. Faisal Masud is the EVP of Global E-commerce for Staples. And for those of you who possibly have been living under a rock and don't know, Staples is the second largest e-commerce retailer in the world. And they're right here in Massachusetts. And they're doing highly innovative things with their Velocity Lab here in Cambridge and all kinds of ways that Faisal is shaking things up at Staples. He comes with a background from Groupon, eBay, and Amazon, so he knows just a little bit about e-commerce and all the great things that are happening there and what's next. So I'm going to turn things over to Faisal, and again, thank you so much for being here, Faisal. We're really honored to have you.
So good morning. Again, I'm Faisal Masud. I work at Staples, joined Staples back in May of last year. And we're going to basically walk you through a little bit of the past, the present, and the future of Staples Inc. and deep dive a little bit more into what we're doing with Staples.com. So with that, just wanted to give everybody a brief highlight on who is Staples. I don't know if everybody shops at Staples. I'm assuming not. And a little bit of background on where we've been in this journey. I can't see the screen here, so in case I go to the wrong slides, please just correct me. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about how we're trying to get connected, connect our commerce through the stores, through our mobile devices, and also our website, which has been around since 1999. So with that, starting with basically what is Staples. The company came around in 1986, founded for specifically the category office supplies. About 25 billion in sales, operating in 25 countries. Staples is a fairly iconic brand when it comes to this category. We have about 85,000 associates worldwide and based out of Framingham, Massachusetts. We are the second largest internet retailer. We have lots of competition coming. To remain at second place, it's going to be difficult, but we're going to keep trying to do that. We do have multiple properties. So when we say we are the second largest retailer, it is Staples.com, StaplesAdvantage.com, Quill.com, and Staples Canada, plus our international Staples properties, all make up roughly 11 billion in sales. And then we were also, like I mentioned, one of the first retailers to launch on the web. So in 1999, Staples decided to go online and launch its storefront, which was, I would think, one of the first few pure play retailers to make it online. So from here, I'm basically going to walk you through a little bit of the past of where we've been, and since my arrival and our team has started engaging with the teams globally, what changes are taking place. So the digital world, is a funky little thing, is moving fast. So we've got a lot of changes that are happening in the online commerce world. The single biggest change that we're seeing, which everybody's familiar with, is mobile penetration and the devices that are being sold. You probably saw Apple's earnings recently. 51 million iPhones sold in the quarter, which was the highest ever that they've ever done. And if you notice that the penetration of even tablets is now reaching a point where desktop is becoming a lot more irrelevant for consumers shopping only on desktop. So the growth here, if you see about 4% on desktop, through June, and majority of the growth coming from tablets. And Staples is not new to this. We're seeing a lot of our traffic also moving away from desktop onto these devices. The bigger challenge is how do you make sure that you're connected through all different devices and channels and you have one unified experience for the customer. With that also, if you look at our mobile growth overall in the e-commerce industry, you'll see that 4.7 billion in mobile revenues, still growing significantly. Desktop's still a contributor, but not quite as big as it used to be probably 5-6 years ago. And the penetration of tablet, again, fairly large. So with this, what do we do about the different types of channels that customers have? And the challenge for us has been, how do we go about making sure that for those customers that are relevant to us and are shopping in various different ways and through different mediums, they get the experience that they're looking for. So we started off about 3 years ago developing our mobile properties and trying to figure out how do we convert those customers in the same way that we do with desktop. So the spending, obviously, if you look at year over year, m-commerce being the dominant player, and again, this is no surprise. So why does this even matter? This matters because there's a proliferation of apps that are coming out across the board for all kinds of things, whether you're making lists, whether you're trying to keep an agenda for what you want to shop when you want to shop, you want to save some money, you've got Groupon, you've got other coupon sites and sites that are helping you shop even more effectively than you ever did, and the transparency is beyond anything it used to be. So back in '86, if you walked into a Staples store, you really had to buy at the Staples store because there was not much choice, and you ended up purchasing just there. The choices now are obviously way more different. In fact, there's new sites coming out. There's one that we saw recently called Boxed. It's based out of New York City. Very unique, very interesting site that only sells in carton counts to customers, and it's like a Costco on an app. Nobody knew about it. It's already ranked 140 in the App Store. They're doing really well, and customers are finding these apps without any advertising at all, because they're living and breathing these apps at this stage. So we're fairly close to all of this as it's going down, but we're also seeing that transparency on price, selection, and the fact that you have to get this product to the customer really quickly is the most important thing. So with that, I'm going to just show 2 quick slides on the big change that's happened over the last 15 years or so. And the next 2 slides really outline the penetration of online commerce in general, and how Amazon, as small as it was in '97 and where it is today, not looking at just Amazon, just really looking at what's happening with e-commerce because Amazon's such a big e-commerce player. How does it compare to Walmart during the heyday of Walmart, the first 10, 15 years of when they were the fastest growing retailer? So if you compare the 2 companies, you will see that the blue line is the growth for Walmart from '77 to '92. So pretty significant growth, and you'll see that no other retailer has seen this kind of growth before Walmart. Now, if you compare that to Amazon, there's 2 different lines. One is Amazon revenues, as Amazon discloses its revenues during its earnings calls. So Amazon discloses revenue based on first-party revenue, which is what Amazon sold as the seller of record, and third-party revenue, which is the commission that they collect on every transaction. So the difference between the 2 lines is that one line shows the disclosed revenue of how much Amazon actually charged the customers and what collected as revenue. The second line, the bigger line, the GMV line, is the transactional volume of what Amazon moved through its platform in that period. So if you notice, it just blows away Walmart, just completely out. The second slide is even more scary for those who are in brick and mortar retail, especially Walmart maybe, where if you look at Walmart's revenues through estimated 2018, you will notice that there's 2 lines. One is the Walmart revenues that we know, and one is Walmart revenues including grocery. So as you know, Walmart went big into grocery because they wanted a really sticky experience, wanted customers to come into the store and pass by the grocery aisles and buy other stuff. Amazon does not play in groceries today. Only in Seattle do they have Amazon Fresh, and that too is a very, very small, tiny business. They haven't really done much with it yet, but it's coming. So if you compare that to Amazon, you'll notice that by 2015, Amazon surpasses Walmart in terms of total transactional volume on a platform. So why this is important is this is a staggering statistic that Amazon, 100% of the sales online, nothing offline, is going to surpass the largest retailer in the world in about a year, roughly a year and a half. For Walmart, this is obviously very scary, but I think for everybody else also, this is beyond just being scary. I think this is a huge opportunity because customers are clearly voting they want to buy online. Their propensity to go to the store is limited to when there's a sense of urgency or there's some instant gratification that's needed to go get it. So with that, Staples has been in a unique position. We in the past, when we look at the past and a little bit of the present also, we've been looking at our customer as the customer that goes to the store. So if you go back a couple of years, that's been the focus. And for most brick and mortar, that's kind of been the focus. So we stole this from IBM. So we've also mentioned them at the bottom so they don't come after us. So in this, we have 4 classes of customers. We've got the traditional, who only want to go shop at a store. They love going to the store. I don't think anybody here only shops at the store. So I don't think it's this crowd. But that's the crowd that Staples was going after for a very long time. In fact, probably till like last year. So the others are transitioning, tech intrigued, and trailblazers. So the true and the definitions of these are folks who use another IBM term, SOLOMO, which is social, local, mobile. They're fairly connected. They want to buy online. They want to buy offline. They're connected online through Twitter, all sorts of other social media. And they're highly, they're very used to having transparency in their purchasing cycle. So they know prices, they know selection, they know experience. They know they want Prime, they want next day delivery, and they want easy returns. So what happens if you start focusing only on the 19%? That was the big challenge that we faced. Quickly, those customers were morphing into roughly the 70% that we are going after over the past year, which is the transitioning and tech and creed. These are the folks that are going to be the future. And obviously, trailblazers, as much as we want them, we know that they are really going after high tech and after a little bit more of the box type, the brand new app stores that are opening up. But for us, the 70% is really important. So that's where we kind of enter the challenges that Staples faces. So we're going through significant pressure in the office supplies category. That's no surprise for us. We know that this is a category that's being hit from every single angle. You've got a lot of competition generally in that store space. You've got Target, Walmart, you've got Amazon, and everybody else. And you've also got a consumer that doesn't really care about just going to one store to buy their office supplies. So with that, obviously, we had to take a step back and figure out, okay, what does the customer really want? And that's where some of the strategy change came around, the reinvention started, where we looked at what does a business really need? The businesses need pretty much everything. Can you sell diapers? Yeah, we sell to daycares. We have dentist offices, doctor's offices, hospitals, universities, colleges. We sell to pretty much everybody. I think the statistic is 85% of Fortune 500 buy from Staples. So we sell to pretty much every industry you can think of, but we were only selling office supplies. For some reason, we were constraining our own demand by only selling the stuff that was inside that box, that store. And roughly 15,000 products were inside a store. So we started expanding our selection, and we've gone now to about 500,000 SKUs that are sold online, but we're still curating the experience because we don't want to have everything. We want to sell what's very specific to businesses, and we want to be sharp on the price and deliver next day, and vast majority of Staples products are delivered the very next day. Nobody knows this, but that's what happens. You get it the very next day. So we're shifting our focus from a pure play office supplies company to a pure play, whatever your business needs, we will supply you, including services. So we have a copy and print business out there also, and we're also doing multiple other services online, sell warranties, all of that. So with that, let's look at what happened. So when I joined Staples, we had a site that was there for many, many years. We hadn't gone through a refresh for approximately 7 to 9 years. So the site looked exactly the same for almost a decade. The navigation, the site was heavily monetized. Lot of activity on the site that was around how can we get this customer to do much more than just buy stuff on the site, meaning collect revenues through ads and other streams. However, what that was doing was it was actually making our experience a lot less clean, painful, slow, and not what our customers wanted. So the single biggest thing that our team wanted to dive into was what can we do to make this experience competitive with our biggest competitor. And we embarked on this journey to relaunch the whole Staples.com. What that meant was we had to reorganize the teams across the board, across all of North America, to put together A, an experience that made sense for our customers, and B, an experience that could not look like the past experience. So we dropped the left navigation. It wasn't really that relevant. We came up with a very clean white space design where we wanted quick speed, and within 2 clicks you should be done, performance. And the results have been outstanding for us, but we went through this whole deployment in less than 4 months. So after 10 years, to deploy in 4 months and change up to 2,000 assets on the site was a non-trivial exercise, but it's been a huge win for us, for the team and for the company. So with that, we also looked at our mobile web. So the challenge on mobile web was more than half the page was a footer on our mobile web. Half the page. So if you actually scroll down, all you would see is the footer. That's on the left side. The footer begins where, if you look at the blue line where it says Staples mobile app. So if a customer is browsing through this mobile web, they're basically spending half their time just looking at something that's completely not useful to them. And also the second challenge we had was we were trying to sell ink and toner and paper when what the customers were doing when you looked at the data was buying 70% electronics. So as much as we forced the customer to come buy ink and toner, they actually rejected and ended up buying electronics. So we decided to take a step back, and the team, the mobile team here in Velocity Lab in Cambridge, decided to come up with some brand new ideas around what we should be doing. And the ideas were around, let's go through a complete refresh. Let's look at what desktop is doing really well, and let's try to figure out what are the best elements of that we can translate into the mobile experience. So on the right side, you'll see we launched a brand new mobile web right before Thanksgiving. And our conversion on just the home page alone, just when you land on m.staples.com, was up 5x. And while the conversion was not fantastic to begin with, it was still good on mobile web. Having that kind of an improvement is sort of unprecedented. You don't see that kind of improvement that quickly. So we're very pleased with that. And then during Black Friday, we changed the user experience completely and reiterated and went with just a deals-driven experience. And that took our business up about 184% during Black Friday. So we saw the experience change so rapidly, and customers react very, very rapidly to what we were doing. So our deployment cycles have gotten a lot faster. With that, we had an app also, which has been around for about 3 years now. So we had this app for 3 years. Don't download it yet. I would not recommend that. We're deploying a brand new app, which we just submitted to the Apple Store. And same thing. We had an app that was heavily centered around selling office supplies, paper, ink, all that stuff, where the customers are pounding the door down and they're buying facilities and break room, they're buying electronics, and they're buying accessories. So we said, you know what, we need to re-engineer this whole thing, and spent about a good 2 months in getting user experience folks in and looking at customers and their behavior and usability studies to figure out what's most important to the customer. So with that, we went to a brand new experience, which you'll probably see in the next month. I think it takes about 30 days to get this released. Yeah, so it's approved, apparently. So the good news is it's approved. Again, don't download the current app, because then you're going to complain that it still sucks, which it does. So not because that's what we wanted to do, but because as I go back to the slides that I showed, the customer focus for brick and mortar folks has been so heavily on what does that customer who walks in the store wants versus what does that customer want no matter where they are in during their day. So if you look at this app also, it was all about sending customers to the store locator, having them look at our weekly ad. I'm not sure how relevant that was. And also, the rest of it was all the footer. So we realized that if we moved all of that down to the bottom of the page, there should be some big impact, right? Like all of a sudden, our revenue should just fall off because the customers are not getting what they want. Well, nothing happened. Nothing changed. It was exactly the same. In fact, our revenue went up. So we're going to do the same exercise with the mobile app. Finally, we have 2 more things that we're updating. We've seen a very significant increase in our tablet business. So our traffic for staples.com on mobile went from roughly 15–20% at the beginning of the year in 2013 to 40% by the time peak happened. This is a very large shift in traffic patterns for us, and we don't advertise on mobile at all. This is all organic traffic coming straight to m.staples and t.staples. So we realized that, okay, there's clearly a lot of traffic coming here. The experience has to be different. What we've also seen is tablet obviously converts a lot better. Tablet's used in the nighttime. It's used in the offices. It's a very different experience, and it's a much faster session compared to what we see on the mobile phone. So what we've tried to do is change the experience. We were before showing just our new site on tablet. The new release is coming out now for tablet web, but we're going to make it super easy for customers to come in and find what they want, even on the web for tablet. And then finally, we have an iPad release coming up. This is something that we're really proud of. We've actually gone back to the drawing board and completely re-engineered everything we've done in the past to make this experience very unstaples-like. This is, when you land on this tablet app, what you'll see is that it is literally centered around the most critical products that customers care about on Staples tablets when they're browsing through the tablet. And also, this experience is very, very native within the environment of, if you're using an iPad. So the core elements that we've focused on is if you want to purchase this item, we know who you are, what you want to buy. We want to be able to give you an immediate offer in real time if you feel this is something that you're seeking to close the transaction. We acquired a company recently, which I'll talk about a little bit, which helps us do that. But the biggest thing in this is that we want to make this an enjoyable experience, because when folks are browsing on the iPad, it's a very different experience to what they're doing on the desktop and on the phone. So they like going through the browse nodes. They like going up and down, left and right, looking at different things, looking at images. And the crispness and what you deliver in the visuals is super important to the customer. So you'll see this comes out, I don't know the exact date. This is a spring release for us. So probably around March, April, this releases also. So that's all the exciting stuff. We've got then a connected experience at the stores. So we revamped about 600 stores, which are still in process, where we've built these kiosks, and we know kiosks are ultimately going to go away. There's no need for a kiosk in a store because you're carrying a kiosk in your hand. You don't need that. But however, there's still that 19% that wants the kiosk because they walk into the store and they can't find something. We need to be able to deliver that experience to them. So we've got a pretty seamless experience at the stores. I don't know if you guys have seen the store downtown in Boston, which is our new 12K store, which is half the size of what the store used to be. Yet it's got pretty much everything connected, where you can purchase anything online while you're at the store and do your copy and print other activities. What we wanted to get out of this was be able to cross-sell customers whatever they want, even if it wasn't in the store, and deliver it the next day, which is the experience that they're seeking. And then finally, we've been spending a lot of money in developing our resources and staffing up the organization. The big challenge for Staples has been not a lot of people want to come work in Framingham. I'm not going to be able to convince my friends from Silicon Valley to come and live in Natick or somewhere and be a software engineer. That's not happening, and it didn't happen. So we had to figure out very quickly, how do we get these folks on board? Because the talent pool within Staples was fantastic for Staples, and what we did with our stores, and what we did our copy and print business and other businesses. But when it came to pure play e-commerce technology, we didn't have the staff. So we've gone out there and done a bunch of things. One is the Velocity Lab. I take no credit. This happened well before my time, but the team went out and created a lab out here in Cambridge to focus primarily on mobile, which has been great for us. We have a lot of startups that come out there and work with us, and we engage with a lot of them to help us develop our products. Second is we acquired a company called Runa. Runa stands for revenue, what was it, Arun? Revenue ultimately requires algorithms, needs algorithms. So Runa was basically a company that I've worked with many times in my past career, where they had about 500,000 statistical models that in real time would deliver offers to customers, whether it was on coupons, promos, delivery estimates, or bundles in real time in the session. And that offer was never replicated again during the whole process. So the company was at roughly 20 people based out of San Mateo. We felt that the technology was something that we needed on our platform to differentiate us from everybody else, because everybody else has regular coupons, everybody can compete on price. But in real time, in session, having IP around that was something that was really important to us. So we ended up acquiring this company back in October, and the team has been ramping up pretty rapidly. We'll probably have close to 50 people there soon. Secondly, we opened up a Seattle Development Center. one thing that I noticed at Staples was that when I first arrived during my interviews, they kept mentioning the word IT. And I didn't understand what that meant. Because every time they said, yeah, well, you have to go talk to IT to get this done, I thought they were talking about go get your computer fixed or like your desk side support or something. But IT at Staples actually meant software engineering. So one big change for myself and the team has been how do you use the right terminology, A, to attract the right talent? Because no engineer wants to be called the IT guy. That's not going to work. And two, when you go out there and you're going to recruit this talent and they're going to recruit their friends and other folks who are the best referrals you can get, you need to have the right team, the right management to go get those people, and you have to pay them at a very different scale. So Seattle Development Center, it's on 2nd and Spring. It opens in April. We've got a temporary office right now. We're staffing up to 100 people there. And the core function of the Seattle Engineering Center is to grab talent, and we've been hiring a lot from the companies on the right. From all of the key industries and e-commerce players, where we can bring that staff and manage our core applications for our platform, which is our order management systems, our omni-channel development, and anything to do with improving our overall experience. So between Velocity Lab, Seattle Development Center, and San Mateo, now we have a pretty substantial core engineering team, and pretty virtual also, that helps us develop our next product. So I look forward to what we do in 2014. We've got a pretty big game plan. With that, I'll take it to Q&A if there are any questions. Thank you. Yes?
Change the image of Staples?
That's a great question. I hope that was happening already. So the question was, how, now that we've done all of this, how do you change the perception on Staples with the customers? I think customers only care about 4 things, and I keep mentioning this internally all the time. And these are 4 inputs that basically make up what happens with our experience. We can do a lot of PR and a lot of communication to the folks outside and tell them we're great and all of that. But in the end, customers only care about 4 things. They care about, do you have the selection I'm looking for? Do you have the lowest price? Can you get it to me really quickly? And if I don't want it, will you pick up the phone and take care of it? These are our focuses. This is all we're going to focus on. And while we do all of this, we're going to focus on reducing our cost structure. Because the one competitive threat that we face is our competitor has a very optimized cost structure where they can pick, pack, ship, receive, return items way cheaper than anybody else, including Walmart and everybody else. So unless we can offer those 4 things to our customer, I don't think we're communicating well. So if you look at Black Friday, last year we had nothing to do. We had no seat at the table for Black Friday. In fact, we did very little on Black Friday last year. Our Black Friday this year, I can't quote any numbers, but it was a staggering, unbelievable event for online. Why? Because we had the best prices, we had the best deals, and we deliver the next day. And if you don't want it, you can return it online or you can bring it to the store. We'll take care of you. I think ultimately that's what customers care about. And if we can continue to deliver that experience, the rest is fairly easy. So we can do PR, but I think this is a better way to go. Thanks.
A lot of these companies aren't Staples in the room. How do you out Amazon if you were advising somebody in this room?
Yeah.
Out Amazon. How would you advise?
I think our focus is not to out Amazon in this case, because our customers, online customers are really agnostic to who they buy from. If you're a Prime customer, it's a different story because you're guaranteed that 2-day delivery. But I think at the end of the day, our customers are business consumers. More than 80% of our customers are small businesses. The Amazon customer is a different customer. They do buy on Amazon and they do buy on Staples. But if we get too carried away by what Amazon's doing, the one concern that I have with other retailers is that everyone's really worried about, in fact, we just had a presentation, I won't mention with who, but they were really telling us how to really take Amazon down. And for me, I worked there many years, this is not our goal. Amazon is a fantastic company that's an innovator in the space, and they innovate every single day. And I personally feel that that's something we should look to and say, wow, that's fantastic. How can we do a better job? Rather than trying to out them. The goal for us is, how can we deliver the best products and services to our businesses every single day that we can be proud of? And if our CSAT and our output metrics on that are not fantastic and not through the roof and not beating Amazon in those graphs, then we're failing. If we try to go after Amazon, that here's a competitor, that let's just go combat them, I don't think that's it, because Amazon's not looking at anyone else as a competitor. Amazon doesn't think Walmart's a competitor, hasn't for the past 7 years. Best Buy, no. Circuit City, dead. Borders, gone. Barnes & Noble, dead. They don't care. All they care about is how can they innovate on the customer's behalf every single day. They don't care about the competition. And I think we should not be attached to that notion either, at least at Staples. So we're going to stay out of that game. We will focus on the 4 things I mentioned: selection, price, speed of delivery, and an experience that we can be proud of. Just one more question? We'll take one more.
With mobile and I'm right here.
Hi.
Sorry. With mobile and tablet usage being way up, what's your reasoning for not advertising on mobile, but yet like reconstructing your apps and websites and stuff like that?
That's a great question. So, our mobile product person is here, and I joke around a lot, but I'm very proud of the team and what they've delivered. But honestly speaking, when we started deploying what we just built, we had to be sure, A, the experience is right. And as much as I would love to go promote what we're doing on mobile, the organic traffic was so high that to go spend additional money just didn't make any sense. So we decided that let's capitalize on the organic traffic rather than trying to go spend more money, and the ROI just wasn't there. So once we see mobile reaching a point where organic traffic is not growing at that precipitous rate, I think that's when we'll step into spending money on this. Till that time, honestly, I don't think it's necessary. So we've stayed away from it. But with the apps coming out, we're going to play a little bit of a role in making sure it's featured and all of that, so people know exactly that we've launched it. So with that, before I get yelled at, I'm gonna end this. Thank you.